Hello and back to YCFT. Come and join us on our couch. Come on, come sit right here. While we take you back to 2014. We are watching a little film called Zombeavers.
It doesn't.
You knew I was going to do that.
It doesn't deserve its own theme tune. But
It has like
one.
a Frank Sinatra-esque theme tune that plays during the credits. Now,
Zombeavers, Zombeavers, Zombeavers.
it's directed by, I've forgotten his name already. I literally asked you this right before I'm the director.
Jordan Rubin.
Jordan Rubin. This is a directorial debut. This is classed as a micro-budget film.
Uh-huh.
I think he was a stand-up comic beforehand.
Right.
And I just want little origins into us watching this, because I had to nag you for so long to watch this film.
Yep.
And you were so against it.
All
I
right.
said, if you hate it, it makes a better video.
Yes, you did. He did say that.
I must say, I enjoyed it. I did not enjoy it enough to buy the £25 Blu-ray that I found, but I was willing to spend £4.75 with free delivery on the DVD.
The Dovda.
I remember this was on Netflix at one point, actually, a few years ago. So I asked you at the end of this movie, was that film everything you expected it to be? And your response was, that was better than I expected it to be. You actually enjoyed it.
I enjoyed Zombeavers.
You expected it. So I'm going to sit here, brag. I'm bragging.
Yeah.
You can sit there humbly.
You're feeling very
You were
glib
wrong
right now.
Oh, I am. I am.
I did enjoy it. It was a lot of fun. It was what I kind of expected it to be, but I didn't expect it to be as genuinely funny as it actually was.
From the producers of American Pie,
I
Cabin
honestly,
Fever, and The Ring.
I just noticed that as well. Yeah, I know.
Synopsis. This film basically opens the same way that Eight-Legged Freaks does.
Yeah.
It's actually exactly the same.
Oh, yeah, starring
With
the
two-
classic toxic dump.
Toxic waste that falls off back of a wagon going into like a beaver lake, and then they get infected with it and become zombie beavers.
Yeah, the like...
Zombies. Again, showing that there was a comedian that did this. That made this. The guys in the truck are Bill Burr and John Mayer.
Yeah.
With a very bad... I actually didn't recognise him at first. I knew he was in it, but I couldn't recognise him. And there's loads of like deleted scenes of like them just like go back and forth. And there's so few like behind the scenes on this film. But on the director's YouTube channel, you can see Bill Burr and John Mayer get interviewed by Stephen Merchant about the film, and they're treating it so seriously. And I know like a bunch of parody posters came out around the same time, and they're treating it, we've just it was like, where did this film come from? I said, well, it's like it just flows from zombie, and the BE is the first few letters, the first sounds of beavers, and it just flows. Never see anything. You can see Merchant at the end. I didn't even watch the film. It's a really, really. I'll link to it in the description. It's a very, very funny interview.
I love that line as well, where he says something like, it's a good movie, it's a great movie, and then Stephen Merchant's like, well, it's certainly the length of one.
It's certainly the length of a movie.
That Zombeavers is a real film.
It's a movie.
It's a movie.
It's certainly the length of one.
Kind of tells you the level of serious you need to take this film, and when you realise that what they're doing, the film just works incredibly well.
It does.
And basically, there's a group of friends, got about 3 girls.
3 girls, yeah.
One of which is going through a breakup because she's got a photo of a boyfriend kissing a mysterious woman.
Jen.
So they're staying at that's Jen, staying at one of their friends' cabins that's owned by a relative.
Mary's cabin.
Yeah. And what's the third one called?
Zoe. Yeah. So Jen is the one who is trying to get over her boyfriend. She's the blonde one. Kind of set up to be the final girl. Mary is the best friend, and it's her relative's cabin. That's the cabin that they're going to stay in. And then there's Zoe, who is not like particularly close to either of them. It seems she's just kind of like along for the ride, and not necessarily.
Whose boyfriend? The boyfriends do turn up uninvited.
Totally uninvited. Yeah.
Like Zoe's boyfriend he even says in the joke, he's like while they're having sex, it's like, you are way too hot for me.
Book. Oh my god.
Book.
Yeah, there's a great deleted scene as well. I know. There's outtakes at the end of it.
What horror movie do you know? Would you say this? Would you call this a creature feature or a zombie movie?
I think it's a creature feature.
It falls
I'm
more
comfortable
into
saying that.
It falls more into creature feature than it does a zombie movie. And so they do like the American Pie style, like the comedy style outtakes at the end of the credits. You never see that in horror.
They're gold. There's a really funny one where Buck and Zoe are having sex, and like I guess like a lot of the dialogue was just totally improvised, and
Yeah.
he just like starts shouting out like in ecstasy all this really random shit, like, "Oh, my mother hated me," or like I had a really.
I'm punching above my weight. You're way too attractive for me.
Yeah.
My mom never loved me. My mom never loved me. Why are you with me? Why are you with me? What do you see in me? I don't know. It's okay.
It's a lot of fun.
Who are the other male characters?
Oh god, right. Well, yeah. There's Book, who is Zoe's girlfriend.
Girlfriend.
But boyfriend rather. There is Sam, who is the boyfriend that Jen is trying to get over because he cheated on her.
He's a bit of a dick.
Yes. And then there's the other guy. And I've got his name here somewhere, but he's the one that's going out with Mary.
He's kind of set up to be the hero who kind of doesn't last nearly as long as you expect him to. The boys turn up, they have a day by the lake, and this is kind of when the Zombeavers strike.
They do.
Actually, no, I'm wrong. I am totally wrong. The first Zombeaver strikes in the night.
Oh, in the bath.
In the bath,
Yeah,
yes.
one breaks in.
Jen goes in there and we see the first one. They think it's just got rabies. And they just keep hitting it, like, hitting it with a bat and everything. It splits in half.
Oh, yeah.
They made the perfect choice going for puppets with this one.
Yeah.
Because there is some questionable VFX through the film. It's
Yeah.
like a micro-budget film, but the puppets were the best. And I think this is the best looking beaver throughout the rest of the film.
The best looking beaver.
And they just end up, like, putting it in a bag and dumping it, and it's gone the next morning. And they just assume like an animal's taken. So then they're out on the lake on this little like flotation,
like a raft, basically.
like a raft, yeah. And Zombeavers attack, and Buck's foot gets just eaten, completely eaten, like taken off.
Yeah.
Like he just comes out of the water holding his own foot. Like,
Yeah.
And Sam uses Mary's dog,
Zoe's
dog, to distract the.
Which, to be fair,
That's one of the hardest things to watch. It's like you want the dog to survive, but you know that dog is not surviving.
You there is logic to what he does.
Yeah.
But it's totally
dick.
cruel. And that was like a turning point for me in liking Zoe's character more, because Zoe at the beginning is like, she's not really there for Jen. You know, it's like the whole reason that they're at this cabin is because they want to try and help Jen get over, you know, her cheating boyfriend. Mary's trying to help her. Zoe doesn't really give much of a shit. And like when the boys just turn up at the cabin, Mary's the one that's like, no, you guys need to go. Like this is not this kind of stay.
Yeah.
Like this is a girl night. We're here for Jen. Whereas Zoe doesn't really give a shit. Zoe's happy her boyfriend's there.
Yeah, she wants to get bucked.
Yes.
By Buck. That's a pun.
Well done.
There's a lot of beaver puns in this as well.
There's a lot. Though we'll get to the beaver puns. But yeah, it's like that. But this moment where Sam just fucking throws her dog into the lake as bait. I felt for Zoe. That was a big turning point for me.
I don't even think this was a bit spoiled, but because they kind of the identity of who Sam cheated with.
I called it right at the beginning. You
called it straight away. But
you could
I'll
tell.
give this as a strength is they don't even try to hide it. Like it's not a big reveal later in the film. It's Mary.
It's Mary. So, yeah, there's a photo of Sam kissing a
yeah.
brunette, and you see the back of her head. But like Mary has like a very kind of signature
Curly,
to like 2010s hairstyle, like an extreme side part and like curly hair. It's like that's fucking Mary. Like you can tell it's Mary. So when it's revealed, like it was Mary and Sam that had a bit of a kiss.
But it's quite early on. It's like they're on the raft again, and Sam's says it. And I think that's why Mary's going to know you guys can't be here.
Yeah.
It's going to come out. Even Zoe points out like later on in the film, it's like we all knew this. It was obvious.
She has a right to know. Everybody else does, for fuck's sake.
I didn't know.
Tommy.
I like the film just doesn't try to trick us. Like
No.
They're going to know that with this type. They knew when writing this. Like, look, the audience is going to easily guess who this is, so there's no point making a big reveal out of it.
What it does is
it's a big reveal to Jen, but not to the audience.
No. It makes Mary more of an interesting character because again, like Zoe is set up to be, like the bad friend, the horny friend who doesn't really care. Mary's set up to be the comforting best friend, whereas obviously it turns out Mary has cheated. And not only that, but it's kind of inferred that the kiss wasn't maybe just a one-time thing. Like there is actually an attraction that's there, and it hasn't. It's Sam's turned up at the cabin not for Jen, but to spend more time with Mary.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like the film has a few like twists and turns with the characters, and
Yeah, and it's...
Jen's just fucking boring. So,
Yeah,
like, I sympathise with her, but...
At one point, at different points of the film, each girl is set up to be our potential final girl.
Yeah, Jen is the main one, because, you know, she's the one that's heartbroken, and she's blonde, you know, like, she looks different from the other two, and, like...
Yeah, she looks the part.
Yeah.
But we have a couple of side guys. We have some neighbours next door, and we have, like, a misogynistic hunter as well.
Oh, yeah,
Who actually turns out to be a bit of a hero.
Yeah.
As well. He kind of makes comments that they shouldn't be dressed the way they're dressed.
Yeah. The
usual thing. But yeah, it actually ends up being quite helpful.
He is useful, yeah.
Because after Buck has lost his foot and they're kind of getting attacked by beavers, we see the first beaver again. He's in half, and they've got him, like, they realise, oh, this is the same beaver from last night. How is it still alive? But it's a great puppet of, like, it's like dragging its other half along. And they kind of realise that they're, like, zombies.
Yes.
But the lad whose name we can't remember.
It's Tommy.
Tommy. He decides to leave, doesn't he, with Zoe?
Buck needs to go to a hospital. Like, he's bleeding out. He's lost his foot. They've got the foot in an ice bag, but, you know, like, time is of the essence. Buck is going to die. So Tommy decides, right, they're going to make a run for it in the car. Zoe decides to go with them because, you know, she loves Buck. So the three of them team off together.
The beavers have blocked the road.
Yeah, because what do beavers do? They chomp on wood.
So that's it, like, spoilers, I guess now for Tommy's killed off very quickly. He's instantly set up to be, like, the most morally, like...
he's a good guy.
He's the most righteous of them. He's the good guy.
When he finds out that his girlfriend has cheated on him, Mary, like, he's genuinely devastated.
He's genuinely devastated, but in that moment he's like, look, our friend needs to go to the hospital. We need to deal with that first.
Yeah.
And it's a good excuse for him to, like, leave. He's like, I don't want to be around Mary.
He's dispensed of very quickly. He's the first one to go. And then so Zoe and Buck are kind of left together. Yeah,
they end up in the neighbour's house because the hunter kind of takes them there, and he's like shooting off at the beavers, and the beavers are like attacking the rest of the house. There's a great moment. It's like, Sam's barricading the windows, and they're like, "What do beavers eat?" He's like, "Oh, do you want me to? Why don't you tell me? Why don't you? What, do you want me to barricade the house in sheet metal?"
Yeah, it's so good. Honestly, it was... Because, like, it's the classic thing, you know, like, you're trying to barricade the door, so they've got planks of wood, and, like, they're nailing them in. And Mary just comes out, "You do realise beavers chomp on wood." Sam's just like, what the fuck do you want me to do? Yeah, it's like...
in that moment, he is very, very funny.
Yeah.
The cast are all very funny.
They bounce off each other really well. It's also worth pointing out at this point is that Jen has been attacked by a beaver.
Yeah.
She's been bit or she's been clawed out or something.
So
she's had contact with a beaver.
Again, the twist, the biggest twist in this movie. Mary is in bed. She's kind of...
having a nap.
Sick, because obviously she is stuck here with the best friend who is no longer her best friend, and...
The guy that she's cheated on.
Yeah. And Jen kind of sneaks away into bed, and it kind of feels like a bit of a dream sequence, because we kind of get the idea that Mary is actually attracted to Jen. She loves Jen. Jen has turned into a motherfucking beaver.
Yeah.
Like a were-beaver.
Yeah.
But this is like, again, what are were-beavers doing in a zombie beaver film? It's weird cross of... But it's like, then you realise in the moment, like, oh, this isn't a dream. This time you went, that's the final girl.
Yeah.
The final girl's just been turned into a were-beaver.
A fucking beaver. And
But during this scene, which is really interesting, where Mary's like basically like admitting that she's in love with her best friend.
Yeah, she says, doesn't she, like, I don't know if this is, like, the way to deal with this situation right now, or something like that, yeah. And, like, honestly, it threw me totally, because I thought it was going to be a dream sequence. I was expecting Mary to, like, jolt awake at any minute. No. Jen turns into a beaver. And that's it. Like, that was the final girl. She was the final girl.
Upon this watch, I do, because it does seem weird for it to go to... I know it's like usually you get bit by a zombie, you can become a zombie. But it's weird for them then to turn into zombie beavers. But it's kind of, the hunter mentions that a while, like, a few years prior, that there was a virus that went through the beaver population.
Yeah.
There was kind of hints that this sort of thing could happen, but you do not expect.
No. So
that.
then it turns into a bit of an interesting... Well, it did for me anyway, like trying to guess who was the final girl going to be.
Yeah, but then we have obviously Buck is very... He seems to take a while to turn, but then obviously we've got the neighbours in the next house who have turned... Suddenly it's like, we've got zombie... We got
humans,
zombie
beavers everywhere.
Where Zombeavers, I'm going to call them.
Yeah.
were Zombeavers ever? And later we even see a were zombie beaver bear.
Oh god, yeah.
This whole film is like, it's nuts.
Yeah.
It's absolutely nuts, and it's kind of impossible not to have a good time with this film because it revels in being
it's
really fucking dumb.
Yeah. Yeah.
With some cool practical effects, some dodgy VFX. I really like how when they look out in the dark, you see all the zombies, like their eyes are just glowing, like they're dead blue eyes.
Yeah.
I just have a ton of fun watching this one, and I'm reveling in the fact that you enjoyed it, even though you really didn't want to.
I did enjoy it. I think I was enjoying the characters. It's like, it does a lot of like the classic kind of slashery tropey things.
If this film came out in the 80s, which with the tech that they used, they could have done it.
Yeah.
I think it would have been a bit of a hit in the 80s.
Yeah,
but it is definitely designed to be a throwback to an 80s creature feature.
Yeah. And I appreciate the practical beavers. I did appreciate the beaver puns, of which there are plenty.
There are plenty beaver puns.
So what is it? I think it's the ranger guy, like the hunter guys, filthy hairy beavers.
Filthy hairy beavers.
It's just like an ongoing joke about how Buck never goes down on Zoe for reasons.
Yeah.
There's beaver puns plenty throughout the movie. But yeah, I think one of the most interesting things that I found, like in terms of trying to mine depth from a film called Zombeavers, is just what it does to the final girl.
Damned.
Well done, movie. But just like what it does to the final girl conversation, like because I was genuinely thrown when Jen dies, like 3/4 of the way through.
I was kind of glad as well because she's really boring.
So then it's like, well, now it's between Zoe or Mary, and honestly, like it could be either.
Because they're not conventional. Final, like we got.
Well, they're both.
We've got the very horny one, which doesn't usually survive, and we've got the cheetah.
Yeah.
That doesn't usually survive.
Yeah.
So both of them don't really fit the final girl.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like
quota.
Zoe is initially presented as not a good friend. She's the one initially that like throws a bikini off and is like very kind of she's very confident and she's very sassy. Like traditional final girl formula, like she'd be one of the first to go. But at the same time, she's also presented as a very loyal girlfriend. She's genuinely devastated when her dog dies. She's very resourceful. There's good and bad traits to her. And then also similarly with Mary, she's initially the one that's the good friend, but it turns out she's just trying to qualm like her own guilt. She's not the best person. No. It turns out.
We get one of your favourite things, a window throw. Well, it's not throw. She jumps through a window.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
I do like the almost cathartic kill of Sam dies, and the way he dies is Beaver Jen chomps off his dick.
Yeah, because beavers can burrow, and she chomped on his wood.
That's such a good kill.
It really is.
It's gnarly. It really is. But
it goes for it with the gore.
Yeah, and ultimately, just I want people to see it, but just Zoe is our final girl.
Yeah.
Zoe is the one
that comes out. Because we're still left with Zoe and Mary at the end. We're like, well, what's it going to be?
It's Zoe.
And we get this nice. I love this moment. Like they're walking off into the sunset. Mary's like, "Take off your clothes. Have you been bit?"
Yeah.
And she's like, I've not. But then it's Mary's been bitten. She then turns into one.
Yeah.
There and then.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I'm happy it was Zoe. I am. It's also Zoe that reveals to everyone about Sam and Mary.
Yeah, so we all know.
Yeah, Zoe's the one that kind of outs them. And initially it feels a bit cruel to do it, but it's like...
Tommy's like, well, not everyone did.
Oh, not everyone did. Yeah. But thanks for that. I don't know how much more there is to say on Zombeavers, really.
If it ever pops up on Netflix again, 100% just give it a watch. Like, this is a really good one to watch with people because it's so dumb.
Watch it.
But it knows it.
Yeah.
And it's everything... Like, the stupid stuff is intended to be stupid, but there's some genuinely, really cool and funny moments in there.
Oh, yeah, there are, totally. And I think the characters...
For that biology, I would call it a good film because it...
Yeah.
It ticks all the boxes it was trying to.
It does. And I also think, for the most part, the characters make, good decisions. it's like, you know, Tommy's the one that's like, right, let's get in the car, Buck needs to go to a hospital. As cruel as it is, Sam throwing the dog to distract the beavers so they've got a chance to swim to shore. It's like, there's logic to that.
Yeah.
Sam being the one to be like, guys, like, I know we're in like a very fragile situation relationship-wise, but like, we can't afford to turn on each other right now.
We need to,
like,
even like barricade, even though it's like, oh, they eat wood, so we've got to do something.
Beavers jump on wood. So stupid. But yeah, I also there's the one particular zombie beaver as well. Like they literally cut it in half, and that's still not enough.
Yeah.
It's like it just sort of separates itself from the
hunter,
second half of its body.
A beaver jumps it, like, shoots it mid-air. So,
yeah. There's enough to enjoy about it, definitely. Like I was very skeptical. I had a good time.
Yeah, that's ultimately what this film is. Do you want to spoil the final scene or leave that as a bit of a surprise?
Maybe a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, we'll leave that as a bit.
But there is a final.
There is also. I've seen this. This must be like maybe because I watched it when it first came out. I watched it when it was on Netflix, so this will be like the third time I've watched it. I had no idea there was a post-credit scene. Either.
Oh no.
I had no because a movie like this you don't watch to the end of the credits.
No. But I appreciated all the outtakes.
The outtakes, yeah. Outtakes give you a reason to watch the credits.
Yeah, it is great.
And
like,
that's always.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what you watch. Comedy,
Yeah.
you always watch the credits because the outtakes are funny. And same with this, I wish horror did it more.
Yeah. I can't remember what it was, but you know, like the disclaimer at the end where it's like no animals were harmed during the making of this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like they have a funny sort of twist to
Yeah,
that.
but then we have the Zombeavers like song at the end and
the crooning
all
Zombeavers song. We've
we're
been
just
singing.
Zombeavers.
It's too good. So yeah, I enjoyed.
Before that I kept saying for some reason I would go Zombeavers.
Yeah.
You know, in the Transformers theme, it works too well.
It does.
It's dumb. It's dumb fun.
It's dumb.
There's literally nothing more to say about it.
Yeah.
Don't do what I did. Don't pay money to watch it unless you are really curious about it. But it will ultimately end up on a streaming service again.
Yeah.
And I'd recommend giving it a watch if you've got a couple of mates around. If you've had a drink, it's even better.
Yeah, but watch over summer. You know, like this is the time to
yeah, this is the time. So thanks for stopping by, guys. Have you just my only question this week is: have you seen or even heard of this? Because I wanted to watch these every week. When I said, "Oh, I got Sam to watch Zombeavers," he was like, "Oh, good old Zombeavers." I was like, "What? You've actually seen it?" He's like, "Yeah, I remember watching that." I was like, so people have heard of it.
People have heard of it. Look, this movie's got 71% on Rotten Tomatoes. But for like whatever people think about Rotten Tomatoes, 71% this movie.
I know. It's mad.
71%.
You know, weirdly, it kind of made me think of a film called Black Sheep, which I know you've not seen.
No.
Anyone out there who's kind of seen that might know
Yeah.
what I mean, because that's also a bit of a black comedy with were-sheep. And we've got, technically, were-Zombeavers.
Where's Zombeavers? Yeah.
Where are the Zombeavers? Yeah, we'll see you next week, guys, before I dull your brains even more with bad lines. Bye.